bring the heat indeed. Sleep was sleep. No, I actually have been getting some sleep, so I really can't say anything. I'm getting about 3 hours a night, so I'm not complaining at the moment. Anyways, what's up, folks? Vixen, Monday morning. Long story. Yeah, I've had a mess on my hands, and it's just Friday was a fun day. Let's say the world backed up on. But yeah. And Latra. No dad jokes this morning, huh? Or yeah, might as well say this morning. And Juan, what's up? Bringing the heat. And Merry Bacon Day, I guess. Yeah, I'm kind of pooped out, so we'll probably do one tonight. It's a long weekend. So, and I got a busy day tomorrow. Hopefully I can get half a day out of it, I hope. But I don't think it's going to happen. I'm hoping to go to a football game tomorrow. Not kids game, but grandkids game. Other than that, the one I'm doing tonight is the disappearance of Karina Sussler. Forgive me, folks. It's about 30 minutes. And it is 4 years old. Figure we change it up with some of the disappearances and missing cases. Steak. Steak. That's tomorrow. Hey, Mr. Jarvis. Nice. Jacqueline background. You like that background? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Thought it was pretty cool. I typed in Ghost Dragon. I thought it was cool, so I kept it. No, I didn't keep it. Be a nice logo, though. I do like that one. Turned out good. Whoever did that did a nice job. Because I didn't see an artist on it. I'll have to go back and look because I'd give them credit. I try to let them sneak their names in there when I take the picture. So I try to get it where I can get their name in there somewhere. Undragon from D&D. Oh, yeah. No, well, I just typed in Ghost Dragon and that's what all came up. For that and about maybe 25 really decent pictures. But yeah, that makes sense. That does. Is that what that's from? I just found that picture. I didn't see. Is it on one of the books or something? Because it looked like it belonged there. It's a cool picture, though. Man, it's been years. So it's everybody having a good week so far. It was really weird. I'm kind of glad we didn't have Oracles Friday. Friday was a long day, and most of the morning was still cleaning up a little bit and doing a little bit of this and that. Didn't get half the stuff I wanted to get done. It's in all the DD books, Classic Monster. Yeah, I know it's a Classic Monster. That I do know. I just know Dracolic. I try. There are just some words I was never meant to say. Anyways, it's only going to get worse. So bear with me, folks. Oh, did you have a good day? We didn't have a bad one here. It was pretty nice. It was cool. I thought it rained real early this morning. Must have rained before the sun come up. But it was dried up. Wind was blowing. Cool, calm day. Mid-70s. I think we barely hit 80 if we did. I don't think we ever did. Right now we're at 55. So it's nice. It's nice out there. I'll probably go out there and open the windows, crack the windows a bit, air out the house. Whiz kids. Okay, let me check it out, Chris. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Too bad he doesn't glow. That is pretty cool. Wow. That's actually pretty cool. That's pretty reasonably priced, too. I may get that. That's kind of cool. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like the lightning one. That might be a possibility to get. I might add that to my collection. Thank you, Chris. Oops. You guys, yeah, I know you guys got it. It rolled out of here today. I'm sure Chris got a little bit, if anything, and it moved straight east. I know it rained around Jersey, too, and all on the East Coast. So it wouldn't surprise me. Let me do something before Nightmare comes in and laughs at me. There we go. But yeah, I mean, if it rained here, it was just a light rain. And it had to happen before sunrise. I woke up just before the sun come up, and it looked like there was dripping on the leaves out here. No rain at all. Wow. If we got it, it was real early because stuff was wet when I got up. But by 10 o'clock, it was pretty much dry. The wind was blowing. It was nice. The air quality wasn't the greatest, but it was nice out there. You sat in the sun, you felt it. If you got a little sun, we got a little. Well, I guess the sun did come out a little bit in the afternoon. We need the weather. We need the rain. Before it gets cold, we need the rain. But if we make it up in snow, I'll be happy. I don't know if I'm feeling we're going to have an early snowfall. If not, it will be late January. If we don't get snow before Christmas, it will be late January, mid-February. And there'll probably be a lot of snow. In the winter fast. But things changing. You know, the Earth's core changed its rotation. So it is affecting things. It's supposed to either make the day longer or shorter. They haven't set, they haven't really noticed yet. But if it is a difference, it's going to be so minute, we probably will never notice it. But it is affecting other things too. So the polar change almost changed the polar field. Watch John Wick. Oh, fun fiction. Was it any good? Did you watch that, Chris? I think Giles liked it. He said it was all right. Flamethrowers. Oh, well. There's the one scene in his one movie where they're shooting his guns with the explosive tips. Those were pretty rad. Loved it. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. He said it was really good, too. Yeah, I'm going to check that one out. Seen it twice. Cool. Yeah, Dad was happy he got to watch Superman. Now home and chair now, full. He totally enjoyed that movie. He liked it a lot. It was right up his alley. Not only was it made for kids and families, it was made for old guys like that to remember the good old days. Because it kind of gave him that feel. You'd watch it again. Yeah, I'm going to check it out now. Because that's 3 people now. Plus a friend of mine said she liked it a lot too. So yeah, I'll check it out now. Put on my movie watch list. I've been bouncing back and forth now. I'm almost caught up on everything. That's one thing I like about this time period. I can catch up. I hope no early snow. Maine is having it premier Bigfoot Festival in the middle of October. It's a 2.5-hour drive. I think you'll be safe, Vixen, to be quite honest. Unless some freaky northeastern comes in on you guys while there's a cold front coming in from the other. That'd be the only way. And I don't think that's going to happen. Not until probably at least November, December for you guys, because you guys always seem to get a little earlier than us. But then again, you're up a little higher. Riding that, I call that northern jet stream when it shifts. You might see a lot of rain, though. Yeah, I've been watching. Everybody's been pretty close on their fall and winter forecast. Well, we can't say for the winter yet, but for the fall forecast, the ones I've seen earlier seem to have got it pretty close. Though I think this cold snap before the beginning of September caught everybody off guard. That just shows you Mother Nature does its own thing. Ain't gonna, hey, you think you're watching me, huh? Well, watch me do this. Snap. I'm over here now. So we'll see. No, they already said it changed. There's an article. In fact, I saw Mr. MBB3 that showed the article that it did change its rotation. The cord did change. I think they think that's why the magnetic pole has been all funky lately. All my shows start back up in a month. Beavis and Bud, Darlin Dixon. Oh, yeah, Giles is excited for this coming weeks too. It's funny. I don't know how he keeps up, but he does. Well, he doesn't watch a whole lot of TV. I watch a little bit of everything. Plus, I'm the one that's always on the go here. I only get so long of a night, so I can catch up on my stuff before I have to get back up and start all over. But that's a good thing because I'm always on the move anyways. Used to get our winters before Halloween. Yeah, I know. That was like Colorado. Colorado usually got a good snowfall before Halloween. But it's pretty late, sometimes not much before Christmas. Yeah, it's shifted here too. Fixing a lot. Yeah, I heard. That's what Giles was saying. Tempted by Tulsa King. Gee, if you haven't watched it yet, Locktro, you should check it out. You'd like that show. I liked it. I'm caught up. It was pretty good. And we'll see what Samuel L. Jackson. Hopefully I can just stay caught up, but I don't think so. Not the way I run around. It's a never-ending cycle right now. And I'm good with that. Because I usually find like there's times I can get caught up. In fact, I'm so caught up, I'm going back to watch some other stuff that I hadn't watched before. But I don't watch really a whole lot of stuff. I don't have a whole lot of free time at night because I always try to stay busy. Well, back in the day, I used to be doing research. So if I wasn't doing that, I was chilling. I was either playing games, catching up on YouTube. Yeah, I kind of want to check out Derry because this is the second attempt now trying to do something with the, like put it in a series. That first show that they tried, I was a little bummed out about. So hopefully they can pull this off. We've been messing around with the internet cable. Well, like LG TV allows you to use internet as a cable, and so you get IP address channels. And there's a movie channel. In the last 48 hours, they've been playing all the Stephen King stuff. It's like, okay, free. I mean, it still had commercials, but it was worth it. He was in there watching them all day instead of watching Cowboys, which amazed me. But yeah, I want to see it too. I'm really excited about Derry. I got signed out of my Disney. Well, actually, it's Giles's Disney. So he has to come down and log me back in so I can watch. I have yet to see Alien Earth. I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it because he hasn't had time to come down and put in. And I've asked him to email it, and he never has. So I'm just waiting for him. He had problems when he tried to sign in. He said he had it on upstairs, so he'd get back with me. I do want to watch Alien Nation. That's the only one I'm not caught up yet. And if I hurry up and get him down here and do this, maybe I can enjoy it before I fall too far behind. If it's not already over. I don't think it is, yeah. Let me get situated here. Everything's all screwed up here. There we go. What time we got? 12:16. I think we're doing pretty good. I guess I'll start the video now. Everybody seems to be hanging on the health foot. Got a new project for a foot neuropathy on gel and put you in the plastic bags and wrap up feet for 30 minutes. Posted. Oh, diffusing. Yeah. Help. Yeah. I've heard this method. Let me know if it works. I want to know if it works. But anyways, let's get on with this. Let me get it going here. Okay. First of all, let me do this. Come on. Oh, I'm sure I left it right. Where was that? No. I don't want to leave it on the face that she's making. Come on. There we go. Righty. Let's see. Everything's good. Let's get it shared. Share screen. There we go. Let me get down to my corner here. Make her big and start it. And here you go. We'll get it rocking.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if
Or
you're new here,
adjust your sound accordingly.
My name is GemmaJade, but today we are going to be talking about Corinna Slusser. I did this video before. This is another reboot. I chose this one because, again, I didn't like the editing in the last one. I didn't like the camera angle. It was very unprofessional. And I think that these victims and their families deserve more than that. I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't understand the heaviness of the responsibility. So I hope that you guys will bear with me, rewatch this. Corinna still might be out there somewhere. So it's really important that we share this and get this case out there. I want to do a trigger alert, which I usually don't do because I feel like if you're watching true crime videos, you should kind of know that things like sexual assault or, something happening to a child, whatever, may come up. I mean, it's true crime, it's real stories, it's real crimes that have happened. However, this involves human sex trafficking. And as ugly as that is to talk about, and as that triggering as that might be to some people, it does happen, and it probably happens in your neighborhood. I say it all the time. We cannot turn a blind eye to these types of things, and Corinna still might be out there. Her parents, her family, her loved ones, her friends are still looking for her. And I think the least we can do is give her a bigger voice, shout it to the rooftops that we're not going to tolerate things like this in the United States or anywhere else. This is so big in the United States alone. I don't know statistics, but this case really disgusted me. It really hit me on a deep and personal level. So, the trigger alert, human sex trafficking, sexual assaults. If this is going to trigger you or hurt you in any way, I will put another video up for you and you can go and check that out. No harm, no foul. But for the rest of us, let's get started and talking about the disappearance of Corinna Slusser. Corinna Slusser was born in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania on October 6, 1998. So she was a Libra. She was 5'7" tall and 140 pounds, my exact size. Corinna had big dreams of becoming a makeup artist. And if you look at her now dormant Twitter and Instagram accounts, she was really, really good. And she could have been, in my opinion, very successful in this field. On Corinna's Facebook page, it states that she studies business management at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, which is just one of the many lies she told her friends and family, as maybe she was a little embarrassed or just didn't want to admit what she was actually doing with her life at this time. If you've been with me for a while, you should know that I'm not going to tolerate any judgments, victim shaming, blaming, or anything like that in the comments. This is a human being. We all make mistakes. We all make poor choices, especially when we're young like this. And most of us are lucky enough to be able to come out of it, grow into mature and responsible adults, and learn from our mistakes. And it's a really sad day and a really sad time when these young kids, these young teenagers can't learn and grow from their mistakes because things like this happen to them. So be grateful that you had the chance to learn and grow from all the maybe stupid, not responsible, or not the smartest things you've done when you were a young adult. There isn't much information leading up to Corinna going to New York, but I'm going to give you, as usual, everything that I could find that I thought was relevant and pertinent to the case. Apparently, Corinna started kind of acting out towards the end of her high school career, and her mom tried really hard to rein her in. But being an 18-year-old, Corinna, she lived at home with her mother. She didn't want anything to do with rules and regulations anymore. Legally, she was an adult. I mean, who of us didn't go through that, right? Corinna actually did not graduate high school. She dropped out in 2017, one credit shy of graduating. She moved out of her mother's house and in with some friends. Corinna was, by all accounts, a really vibrant and helpful person. She would always do her friends' hair and makeup for special occasions or just because, give them all makeovers. So she was really talented. She always wowed her family and friends with these talents, and she was even going to start a YouTube channel about how to do makeup. I think she would have been so incredibly successful, and it really hurts me to think of the potential lost with Corinna Slusser. Also in 2017, Corinna decided that she wanted to move in with her aunt who lived in Massachusetts. And while her aunt really thought about it, she realized that when Corinna, the time that Corinna wanted to come, she wasn't going to be home for a few weeks. And for whatever reason, she really wasn't comfortable with Corinna being in her house when she wasn't home. I guess because Corinna was acting out a little bit with her mother. And so the aunt said for the time being, until she got back from wherever it was she was going, Corinna would not be able, unfortunately, to go and stay with her in Massachusetts. So Corinna was stuck staying in Pennsylvania, essentially. It was right around this time that Corinna decided to take her own life by swallowing 50 to 60 acetaminophen pills. Fortunately, though, she was able to get help and be rushed to the hospital before she succeeded in ending her life. While at the hospital, Corinna was diagnosed with depression. And also, while at the hospital, this is when Corinna would meet a man who seemingly played a pivotal role in her future, in her possible abduction, in her disappearance, allegedly, this is all alleged, her move to New York, and her introduction into the escorting/prostitution lifestyle. She met a real winner. I'm not sure if she met him like in the emergency room or if because she attempted to take her own life, she was put in some kind of unit and that's where she met him. But she met this man at this hospital. So basically, while she was her most vulnerable and at her lowest point. This man's name was Giovanni Pagero, and Giovanni told Corinna that he had his own place in New York City, that she was welcome to stay rent-free as soon as they got out of the hospital. I also want to point out before I go any further that this case is very convoluted. I had a really hard time getting an accurate and concise series of events, like a good timeline going. So just bear with me as times and dates are a little off. So I'm trying not to give specifics, but I will do the best I can. So Giovanni tells Corinna that, hey, come stay at my place in New York City. It's mine. I pay for it. You don't have to pay rent. I'll help you out. Also, before we go any further, I want to take a minute to talk about the mechanism that sex traffickers use to lure these young women, these young people, right? Because it can happen to men too, into this lifestyle. Sometimes you have your basic abduction, the grab you off the street, throw you into a van, and literally kidnap you, either drug you or beat you into submission and force you to have sexual relations with random people for money that usually you do not get to keep. A lot of the time, drugs are involved to keep the victim of the sex trafficking compliant. Like, you do this or you don't get any more drugs. Usually, it's something like heroin because of the desperate need in the body, but that's a whole other video. So sometimes drugs are used, other times they're beaten, they're threatened, anything to keep them compliant. More commonly, though, especially in cases of young women, there's a person employed called a lover boy. A lover boy is how Corinna was lured into this lifestyle. That would be Yvonne Paguero's role. Remember, allegedly. I'm not going to keep saying it. A lover boy is someone who poses as a boyfriend or a love interest to the victim. They lure the victim in, they're sweet, they're romantic. The victim can't believe their good luck that they found a man like this. It can happen with a woman too, but in Corinna's case, because she's a woman, I'm going to go by her case. So this guy lures her in, he loves her, he's giving her a free place to stay, treats her like a queen for a little while. Once the woman falls in love, the lover boy then starts coercing her to sleep with other men for money. He will either come up with something that he has to pay fines, or he's going to go to prison for a long time and leave her, or come right out and tell her, you have to start footing, your own bills. You have to start helping out. If you love me, you will do this. At this time, because the lover boy has approached the victim at such a low and vulnerable time in their lives. In Corinna's case, she was suicidal. She was diagnosed with depression. She was having trouble at home. She didn't want to be in her home. She could not go and live with her aunt, possibly feeling abandoned. And I'm not saying she was abandoned. I'm just saying maybe she felt that way. Very low point, very vulnerable. The lover boy will threaten to take this love away, to take this life that they're living away. And remember, so far he's been sweet, a Prince Charming, very romantic. The reason I'm trying to stress this point is because a lot of people who aren't familiar with this will say, like, who wants that kind of guy? Let him go. He's not that kind of guy yet. It's all a big manipulation to impressionable young adults. Another mechanism the lover boy will use before he starts asking the victim to go into this lifestyle is he will alienate the victim from all friends and all family until he is the only source. He's the only source for love, wants, needs, basic needs, because the victim usually is not allowed to really work because the lover boy says, I got you. You don't have to work. I got this. So not only is he going to take the love away, but he's going to take away the support. The victim will feel they have nowhere to turn because they didn't realize that they were forced to alienate everyone else. Corinna was already feeling alienated from her family at the time when she met him. So Yvonne was probably she felt all she had in the world. Total love bombing, right? You guys know what love bombing is. Narcissists do it. They come on very strong. They prey on the victim's vulnerabilities, and they become a very attractive looking love interest. And so it goes. It was just like the perfect prey, the perfect storm of opportunity brewing for this to happen to poor Corinna. She was actively searching for a way to leave behind, at least for a little while, where she grew up. And New York City, are you kidding me? Free of charge? I might jump on that opportunity. It was too good to be true. So once the victim is fully dependent on the lover boy, this is when he turns into a pimp. He will, like I said, ask her nicely, try to coerce her into having sex with other people for money, which he collects. And if she doesn't do it, this is where more often than not, the relationship turns violent and she is forced, whether, like I said, through drugs being given, through beatings, through threatening family, whatever it takes. This lover boy, now turned pimp, is going to get her into this escorting and prostitution. I just want to state for the record, escorting and prostitution, in my opinion, are two different things that might come up later. So when Corinna accepted Giovanni's offer to move to his apartment in New York City free of charge, all she took with her was her birth certificate, social security card, and cell phone. So she had the clothes on her back and those few things. After initially arriving in New York, Corinna keeps in almost daily contact with her friends and family. She's posting on Facebook pictures. Things are going well. She's super happy. She's excited to be in the city and to be moving forward with adulthood. She's really seeming to be having a great experience and really experiencing life and possibly love. It was later found out by her loved ones, though, that during this time, almost immediately upon going to New York City with Giovanni, Corinna was escorting and she was advertising under the name Clarissa. At 1 a.m. on August 25th, 2017, Corinna called 911 from the Harlem Vista Hotel in Manhattan and stated that Peguero had stolen $300 from her while she was in the shower. She actually told the authorities that he was her pimp and she called him daddy. She reported that when she confronted Peguero about stealing the money from her, he grabbed her by the throat, choked her, and threw her up against the wall. When police arrived on scene, she was visibly upset. She was shaking and crying. Peguero was arrested and charged with strangulation and criminal obstruction of breathing. A copy of the order of protection that was obtained against Peguero from Corinna was sent to the address on her ID, and the address on her ID was her mother's address in Pennsylvania. So this is how her mother and her family found out what was going on with her. However, when her mother saw this protection order against Giovanni, she asked Corinna about it, like, what's going on here? And Corinna shrugged it off as no big deal, like it was just a little argument got out of hand. And as a mother to an 18-year-old, what do you really do if your child tells you it's no big deal and she's not leaving him and she's doing fine and it was just a one-time kind of thing? What do you really do? Whether she wanted to do something or not, in my opinion, I don't really think she could have done anything because Corinna was an adult. She was expressing her authority over her own life, right? That's why she was acting out to begin with. She didn't want rules or regulations. She wanted to be her own person and go out and enjoy the world. So I don't think there's much that Corinna's mother could have done. So this next meeting is very important, but I'm not sure how it happened. I don't know if Corinna cut ties with Giovanni herself and went out onto her own, or if Giovanni passed her off. Remember, we're talking about human trafficking. At this point, yes, Corinna was an escort, a prostitute, whatever you want to call it. She wasn't a human anymore. She was a slave. So basically Giovanni owned her. So what I think, just using what I know, is that because she had him arrested and got this protection order against him, he was pissed. So he passed her off. I don't think she had the freedom over her own life anymore to cut ties with Giovanni and go off on her own. So either way, Corinna ends up at a motel in the Bronx with a wannabe rapper and pimp named Ishi Woni. Woni is there pimping out another girl who goes by the name Jessica Wabbit. No judgment, guys. No judgment. Woni allegedly takes Corinna under his wing and he posts ads for both her and Jessica Wabbit using all three of their cell phone numbers as callback numbers for clients. Unsurprisingly, Jessica Wabbit started to become jealous of Corinna and of Woni's attention to Corinna. She started this whole big scene. So it kind of forced Woni to bring Corinna to a different hotel to advertise her services. And this was the Haven Motel, and it was in Queens, New York. On around September 10th, Corinna makes her last post onto a social media account, which I think is Facebook, but I'm not 100% sure. She posts a picture of someone smoking a blunt, and the location is in the Bronx, New York. It was also around this time that Corinna called her mother and told her that her social security card and identification were stolen and she wants to come home. I think this is another mechanism that these sex traffickers use to keep these women in line. Where is she going to go with no money, no ID, and no social security card? So she can't prove who she is. She can't get on a plane. She can't get a bus ticket. She can't do anything to get away from them now. And this is what they do. According to her family, this was the last time they ever spoke to Corinna. She had never picked up another phone call or made another phone call from that particular cell phone, the one she brought from home, ever again. They said she sounded terrified during the phone call and she was begging and pleading she just wanted to come home, which of course her mother said that would be fine. On September 20th, Corinna was seen in the early morning hours at the Haven Motel with Woney and an unidentified male client who had paid for a room to spend the entire night with Corinna. So unidentified male, Woney, and Corinna. This is right around the same time that the last advertisements using her cell phone number were put on Craigslist. Her location is listed as Ozone Park, Woodhaven, Queens, Flushing, and Astoria. And it's later discovered that between September 10th and September 20th, Corinna and Woney had exchanged over 800 text messages. This is where it gets a little fuzzy for me because I know I just said she never made another call or picked up her phone again from that cell phone. But then it says around September 20th, that's when she last placed her last advertisements. So was this a different phone? Most likely it was one that Woney got her. They're messaging back and forth. It was probably a phone for business and she never used her personal phone again. At some point in September of 2017, Corinna's friends and family report her as missing. The police tell them not to release any information on social media to, the newspapers, to the local news. Do not release any information about her being missing because if she is being sex trafficked, which they thought was highly likely given the situation and the circumstances, it might scare her captors into moving her somewhere else where they'll never find her, to just keep moving her or to hurt her or possibly kill her because they're afraid now that this is going to turn into a big thing. This girl is being missed. She's being looked for. So the family kept silent about her disappearance. Corinna's disappearance did not reach news media until November of 2017. So 2 whole months after she initially disappeared. Nobody knew about it for 2 whole months except her friends and family and the police. I understand where the police were coming from with this. I mean, you don't want to scare the captors into hurting her, but at the same time, you need to get the word out. I don't know what I would have done in that situation. I don't know if it was smart to wait the 2 months or not. I can't say, and I definitely can't judge. As very fortunately for me, I've never been in that situation. So what do you guys think? Do you think they did the right thing by keeping silent given the reasoning that the authorities gave them? I really can't make that judgment. 1 year later, in October of 2018, Ishi Woney is arrested for the sex trafficking of Corinna and Jessica Wabbit. I'm guessing, though, they didn't have enough evidence to hold him at that time because he posted bail and then went and immediately posted a picture on social media of him, Jessica Wabbit, and Corinna. And he did this allegedly to taunt her family because he put it on the social media, like on her missing persons page. When interviewed by the FBI, Jessica Wabbit said that Woney had done nothing wrong, that he wasn't pimping her out, but she did admit he stole her identification and he would regularly steal money from her. But she claimed that she was doing what she wanted to do and he had, in fact, not influenced her in any way, and he was not a pimp who was forcing her. This was basically her testimony to the FBI. Was she lying because she was scared? I mean, technically, if she was being sex trafficked by him, she's a victim too. You really have to laugh so bad for the things that she does and how she didn't help, but you don't know what her mind frame was at that time. You can't even judge her. Since then, since Woney's arrest, various troll social media accounts have been popping up to harass Corinna's family. Basically, they defend Woney and they state that Corinna, quote, left that night, end quote, of her own free will. I have no idea what night they're talking about. I don't know if this was supposedly the last night she was seen. I don't have further information on that. And that's the same story that someone else gives later on. Everyone who involved said Corinna left of her own free will that night. What that means, I don't know. So what are they saying? She walked off and just left this life, no ID, no money, right? Come on, guys. These various troll accounts included ones made by Jessica and another of Woney's girlfriends named Imani Brown, who goes by the screen names Chocolate Drop or Nellie Banks. They are literally harassing Corinna's family and loved ones throughout these social media accounts. And I think, victim or no victim, that's a despicable act to harass the family of someone who has been through this and who is now missing, and you're possibly involved or know who is involved and know what happened. I think shame on them, and that's despicable, victim or no victim. But again, can I really say that? What are they being forced to do? What's being held over them? Are they so used to this life by now? I can't even speculate, right? I can go on and on about the possibilities, but I'm trying to stick to the facts. This kind of stuff really gets me, guys. It really, really gets me. They even trolled, as I said, Corinna's missing persons Facebook page that her mother, Sabina, put up for her. They also harassed Sabina personally, and to this very day, the whereabouts of Corinna Slusser remain unknown. The most current information that I could find on Corinna Slusser's case was this. On November of 2019, Ishi Woney was sentenced to 15 years for pleading guilty to the sex trafficking of a minor and other trafficking prostitution related offenses. In the courtroom, Sabina cried out and begged and pleaded with him to tell her what happened to Corinna, where Corinna was, and if she was still alive. Ishi responded basically that he wishes he could help her, but he has no idea what happened to her or where she is. He states, quote, "I never passed her off to anyone," end quote. He also said, quote, "I pray she is alive," end quote. Essentially refusing to give even the smallest bit of peace of mind to this mother who lost her child, whether she's deceased or not deceased, she could possibly still be out there somewhere. And if something happened to her, her family should be able to bring her home. I pray that she's alive, but I even feel bad praying that she's alive. Is that really being alive? Being a slave, sex trafficked? Come on, man. We're better than this. Humanity's got to be better than this. As a society, we have to be better than this. We have to be. Corinna's family desperately searches the internet every night, night after night, looking for advertisements with either her picture, the names that she used. Since September of 2017, they've been doing this. This case is tragic on so many different levels, and that's why I decided to redo it, and I hope to get more of the word out there. Please share this if you think it's worth sharing. Her family is desperate for any trace of her, any sign of her. If you're out there and you know something, anything, even if you think it doesn't even matter, please reach out to the police, reach out to the FBI, reach out to Corinna's family and let them reach out to the FBI. I'm sure you can remain anonymous. And even if you can't, don't be a coward. This family needs closure. There are thousands upon thousands of girls and victims and even men out there being sex trafficked. People are not slaves. It's very possible that Corinna is still alive and being sex trafficked, going state by state here in America. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Corinna Slusser, I am going to put the phone number for the NYPD Human Trafficking Task Force on the screen here and in the description box. As I said, guys, this is all the information that I have, the most updated information. If you know anything else, reach out to me through email, leave it in the comments. This case is really important to me. Again, I really wanted to redo it, get the word out there, put a little more life into it. I'm only one person. I don't have a ton of subscribers, but I do have a voice and I can use it, and we can all use our voices. I want to let you guys know that my birthday is Monday, March 1st, which as I'm filming is tomorrow, but you won't see this video until afterwards. It may or may not be a short week for me just because of that, but I'm working on a brand new series. It's going to be local urban legends, but I'm going to need your guys' help. I want you to email me any local legends, local lore, urban legends from your area that you've heard about and you want me to cover. And I'm starting with my area, which is obviously the Jersey Devil.
She always
I love you
use,
guys so much.
listener
Please be sure
encounters,
to give this
too.
video a big thumbs up
If you don't have an
liked
email,
it, if
it's
you
there
enjoyed hanging out with
in
me.
the
Guys,
tape,
be sure to subscribe if you aren't
and in the
already. My goal was 1,000
in the
subscribers by my
description box
birthday, the
below.
1st. I am not going to make it unless I get like
And I'll probably put it in
300
the chat
subscribers
probably toward
tonight,
the end of
which
the night.
isn't going to happen. So hopefully by April 1st. I appreciate you all so much. Check out the description box for some links. The link to mine and Steve Stockton's podcast,
We'll
which we
cut
are
that now.
still on hiatus.
The, 1 second. Close out. There we go. Why did I do that? Okay, be that way. Okay, let me get small again. There we go. So how's everybody doing? Yeah, it's a good one. And it's only 4 years old. I figured that was a good one to play because she could still be out there. I hope everybody's good and enjoying that one. That was she kind of showed her side, but people, good reason to get upset. Even if it is an older one. Just like I said, there's always chance. There's always hope. Now I know what you were saying, Latra. I feel like kind of doom. Because I don't remember this. I remember watching it, and that's about it. Other than that, yeah. And I was just going to take a little break before I start my next one. I'm going to do one more, I think. It's still kind of early yet. It's only 12:47. So I was going to do another one. The Tragic Murder of Lauren Doone Astley. Jeez. Someday I don't think that's going to happen. Anyways, it's only 21 minutes. Let me do that next if everybody's up to it, since I'm the only one talking at the moment. Everybody's wandering around like little lost puppies, which is fine. Sometimes I do that too. But yeah, I'll get ready to start that one since chat is quiet. And see what we could do here. Get it up. Oh, what a good time too. Okay, and this one is also, let me put the date in. I'm going to type it in. This is about dark on the screen. This time I got the date. This one's 4 years old. 2. Here we go. Let me get this going. Oh, I haven't shared it yet. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's get it shared first. Let me get me situated. How come it's not on the screen? Huh, there we go. That was weird. I froze. There we go. Okay. That was really weird. Okay. Make her big and we'll start it.
My channel, and if you're new here, just
adjust the
welcome.
sound
My name is
accordingly. I'm going to leave my mic on.
But today,
she's the queen,
is another reboot, and we are going to be talking about dating violence. A story called Loved to Death, Lauren Dunn Astley. Let's just dive right in. Lauren Dunn Astley was born on April 1st, 1993, and she was an Aries. Lauren's parents are named Mary and Malcolm, and she was born in Boston, Massachusetts. She was the only child and the absolute love of her parents' lives. You can tell how much they loved and adored her just by the way they speak about her. Though born in Boston, Lauren grew up in Wayland, Massachusetts, and her parents were both educators but divorced in 2006. They shared custody of her. Lauren discovered a love of and talent for music at a very early age. At the age of 12, she got the lead in a community theater production of Annie. She was so incredibly talented. She was a natural. She loved the spotlight. Lauren was only 5 foot tall, but according to everyone who knew her, she had a larger than life, a giant personality. Lauren was also very talented at soccer and tennis. She played the French horn and performed with the Metro West New Symphony Orchestra for several years, and she had this incredibly amazing singing voice. She was the lead singer of her high school's a cappella group. Her loved ones described Lauren as vibrant and full of life, an incredibly honest young woman with a huge heart who wasn't afraid to stand up for what she believed in, to stand up for the little guy. She definitely wasn't any kind of wallflower or little mouse keeping silent in the corner. If she had something to say, she was going to say it. If she believed in something, she stood up for it. My kind of girl. When I see pictures of Lauren myself, I just can't help but smile. She wasn't only beautiful to look at, you could just see this light in her eyes and this gorgeous, perfect smile that emanates this real happiness and joy in life at just 18 years old. Lauren went 3 times to New Orleans to help flood victims from Hurricane Katrina get back on their feet. Her parents stated that the good, hard manual labor was very good for her, but also really meaningful to her. She really enjoyed it and she never complained about it. It was something she wanted to do. Lauren eventually started dating fellow classmate Nathaniel Fujita. They were both each other's first serious relationship. When describing Nathaniel, his and Lauren's friends described him as a quiet person who really didn't say much and also a, quote, good friend and a kind person at heart, end quote. Nathaniel, or Nate, as he was mostly called, was a star wide receiver for the Wayland High School football team. He was the oldest child to his parents, Beth and Tomo Fujita. Tomo was a musician, a well-known guitarist whose music you can find on YouTube, and he was also a professor at Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts. Their families became very close while they were dating, and each family just loved the other child. They all got along together really well, and both sets of parents thought the relationship was a really good match. Lauren and Nate, as usually do with your first love, your first boyfriend or girlfriend, they spent so much time together, usually hanging out with their mutual friends or at Nate's house. The two dated for about 3 years, and the first 2 years were described as ideal by everyone who knew them. But the third and final year was when it kind of became a roller coaster ride. I couldn't find specific information or details as to what changed in the last year, but Lauren would complain to friends that one night that Nate was being boring and on his phone the entire time, and then the next night she would talk about how cute he was and how romantic and how much she loved him. So it was kind of an up and down relationship, definitely. Lauren's mother explained in an interview that the two kept chronically getting into fights just to turn around and almost immediately get back together again. This kept happening over and over again, and Lauren and Nate were both very miserable about it. In the spring of senior year, on her 18th birthday in April, Lauren broke it off with Nate for good. She was looking forward to college and going away and getting to meet so many new people and experience so many new things to move on from this first relationship that obviously was not working out for her anymore. According to friends and family, she was relieved with the breakup. Nathaniel, however, did not see the breakup in the same way. He was extremely sad, and he was reported to have felt a real sense of loss when Lauren broke up with him. He couldn't seem to really move past it or even accept that it was real. He believed that Lauren would come back to him as she did every other time, and this really had an effect on him mentally. Nathaniel had been accepted to play football for Trinity come fall, and he couldn't even get excited about that. It was a childhood dream come true. His uncle said, quote, he just wasn't the same kid not to get excited about football, end quote. To celebrate graduation, Lauren and 2 of her best friends, Chloe and Hannah, decided to throw a party, and about 150 classmates showed up. All of them were having a great time. They were dancing and celebrating underneath this huge event tent. I guess because of all the harassment and anger Nate had been displaying towards Lauren from the time she broke up with him in April leading up to this graduation party. Even though he was there that night, Lauren did not want to talk to him at all. She didn't even want to say hi. She just wanted to enjoy her time with her friends and enjoy her graduation party. According to friends and witnesses at the party, they stated that Nate, seemingly drunk and possibly high, went up to Lauren and started a huge fight with her that night underneath the tent in front of everybody. They recalled how upset Lauren had become and how she was just pleading with Nate to just get away from her and leave her alone, to just get away from her. Lauren's mother also shared a memory from that same night, stating that Lauren had come to her crying, saying that Nate was harassing her, wouldn't leave her alone, and was refusing to allow her to dance with anybody else. I don't know how he was doing this, maybe kind of pulling her away or cutting in, or he wasn't letting her dance with anybody else. When Lauren wasn't being responsive the way Nate wanted her to be, she just kept telling him to leave her alone. He got extremely angry and he walked over to one of the poles that was holding the tent up and punched it. And it made it kind of halfway collapse down onto some of the party goers, who were then forced to try and hold the tent back up. At this point, Nate was asked by Lauren's parents to please leave. And Lauren's father said, quote, he had to be picked up and I think feeling like the world was against him at that time, end quote. In the few weeks leading up to Lauren's murder, everybody noticed a huge change in Nathaniel. He never left his house anymore and was drinking and smoking pot daily. He wasn't hanging out with his friends anymore either. His mother, Beth, was so worried about him that she took him to see a psychiatrist. Lauren continued to worry about Nate, and she always was asking friends, like, should I go see him? Should I go talk to him? She loved him and cared about him, and she didn't want to see him hurting or hurt in any way or sad. She just couldn't continue on with the romantic relationship anymore. Her friends all advised her not to go and see him because he could take it the wrong way and think that she was trying to get back together with him, only to end up being disappointed and hurt all over again. So she kind of worried about it to herself and with her friends, but she did not approach Nathaniel about it. However, Beth, Nate's mom, went to Lauren's job and asked her to please go and talk to Nate to see him. She was really worried about him. And Lauren felt like she couldn't turn down Nate's mom. She had been like a second mother to her during the relationship for the 3 years, and they were really close. And plus, like I said, she was already worried and already kind of thinking about going. So when Beth asked her to go, she said that she would that night when she left work. When her shift ended at the clothing store on the night of July 3rd, 2011. There is video surveillance of Lauren on the phone while leaving the mall, and records showed later that she was in fact talking to Nate, and this was at around 6:45 p.m. Lauren didn't tell anybody, none of friends, not her family, that she was going to meet Nate. She told nobody, but the surveillance footage of her leaving the mall at 6:45 was the last anyone would see her alive. At 7:05 p.m. on that same night, July 3rd, 2011, Lauren's phone sent out its very last ever text message, and it was one word and sent to Nathaniel Fujita. It said, quote, here, end quote. At about dawn on July 4th, 2011, Lauren had been missing for about 12 hours. Everyone knew that she was missing, and her family had called police at around daybreak. Lauren's body was found in a nearby marsh. She had been strangled, and her throat had been cut. She had a bungee cord tangled in her hair. Malcolm Astley, Lauren's father, had to go and do the unthinkable. He had to go to identify the body of his only child, his beloved daughter. He said about the experience, quote, I was hoping up until the last moment that it was not her, even when we went to the medical examiner's office, end quote. Lauren's mother remembers just screaming, quote, please don't let it be Nate, end quote. Investigators interviewed family and friends and obviously wanted to speak to Nathaniel Fujita. They learned that on the previous night, Nate was home alone, but when they went to the Fujita home, Nate's father, Tomo, told them that Nate was also missing and he hadn't seen him. Investigators immediately got a warrant for the Fujita home. They started their search of the residence in the garage, where they found a stain that resembled and was later tested positive to be human blood. They also uncovered additional blood evidence, bungee cords that matched the one that was in Lauren's hair, and in the basement of a home, a black gym bag. Inside the gym bag was a soaking wet pair of sneakers that were covered in mud. When they searched Nathaniel's bedroom, though, that's when it all came together. In a crawl space in his bedroom, the police found sneakers that appeared to have blood all over them, bloody clothing, and everything was soaking wet and covered in mud. Now, with this information, keep in mind Lauren's body was discovered in a marsh, a wet, muddy marshland. This is when the investigators issued a warrant for Nathaniel Fujita himself, and they tracked him down at a cousin's house. When they arrived, put the handcuffs on him and told him why they were arresting him, what they were there for, he was silent. He said absolutely nothing. He was arrested immediately and charged with the murder of Lauren Dunn Astley. About the arrest, Nate's uncle said, quote, "It was incomprehensible. It was like an alternate reality," end quote. Here is the timeline the prosecutors put together based on all of the evidence they had uncovered. The blood found in the garage and on Nate's clothes was Lauren's as well, just so you guys know. Nate was home alone when Lauren showed up just a few minutes after 7 on July 3rd. He savagely and brutally murdered her in his parents' garage, and then he drove her red Jeep about a quarter mile to the Town Beach parking lot, dumped her keys in a storm drain, and then ran on foot back to his house. He went back to his garage, put Lauren's dead body into his own car, and then drove about 5 miles to a secluded marsh area. He took her body out of the car and went about 30 feet into the marshy water and tried to conceal her body with some vegetation that was springing up in this, muddy marsh. Then he headed back home. A witness saw him on a street coming from the marsh back to his house and said, quote, "His music was blaring and his shirt was off. He looked like he was on a mission, deliberate and purposeful driving," end quote. When he got back to his house, he tried to clean up the crime scene and hide evidence. Quote, "It all took less than an hour," end quote, prosecutor said. The prosecution in this case sums up a very singular and simple theory as to why Nate killed Lauren. Quote, "He was upset his girlfriend broke up with him, so he killed her," end quote. Is it ever really that simple, though? By all accounts, there was no physical abuse, no stalking behavior going on during the couple's 3-year relationship. However, some of their friends said they did see some things and some behaviors that they considered to be a bit troubling even then. They said Nate didn't ever want Lauren talking to anybody else, especially male friends. He didn't want her hanging out with anybody when he wasn't there. And he would randomly pick up her phone and go through it and question her. Who are you talking to? Why are you talking to them? Etc., etc. Lauren's best friend Chloe later stated, quote, "I believe he loved her. He was obsessed with her," end quote. As authorities started gathering more information leading up to the trial, they started to believe that Lauren was a victim of something called dating violence. It's a disturbing trend that's happening more and more in the relationships and breakups of young people, especially high school teenagers or high school aged teenagers. Quote, "A relationship ends and what happens is a surge of uncontrollable anger. It can be verbal and or physical, and in the case of Lauren Astley, it can end in death," end quote. According to the American Psychological Association, 1 in 3 young adults and teens are the victims of physical, emotional, verbal, and or sexual abuse by a dating partner. That's some scary statistics right there. Of teenagers that are in an abusive relationship, 3% will tell an authority figure, 6% will tell a family member, but 79% will tell a friend.
Bojangles.
Mary Dunn explains that while now she realizes that she did see some signs of a toxic relationship, they weren't blaring. They were, quote, "very, very soft," end quote. She stated it was things that she just chalked up to regular teenage behavior, hormones, the fact that Lauren's best friends didn't like him, and how much time they spent hanging out at Nate's house compared to how much time they spent hanging out at Lauren's house. Those things now, in retrospect, cause her some concern. Quote, "And the number of times she tried to break up with him and he wouldn't allow it. I think that is another red flag," end quote. Absolutely. In my opinion, how is somebody not going to allow you to break up with them? Nobody has that kind of control over another human being. According to Nate's family, there was something else going on with him. He reported to a psychiatrist that 1 out of 10, with 10 being the best mood ever and 1 being the worst, he was at a 1. Now let's talk a bit about the trial. On February 13th, 2013, about a year and a half after the murder of Lauren, Nate stood trial for her murder. The prosecutor believed that Nate punching the pole of the event tent at the graduation party was a precursor to the murder event. Quote, "This is a domestic violence murder. This was perpetrated because of the relationship, which was a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, end quote. However, the defense vehemently denied this and disagreed with it, stating that this was way more than a domestic violence murder. It just wasn't that cut and dry. They wanted the jury to focus on Nate's behavior overall in total leading up to Lauren's murder after graduation. The psychiatrist his mother took him to see diagnosed him with major clinical depression, and Nate refused to take the medication. Remember, he was also drinking alcohol and smoking pot daily. His attorney stated, quote, "He has major mental illness. This isn't just feeling down, but this was a major depressive episode," end quote. Lauren's best friend Chloe said that Lauren was concerned that Nate was going to hurt himself, and that's what his mother feared. Everybody feared he was going to hurt himself. They never imagined he would ever hurt Lauren. Nathaniel's attorney stated, quote, "At the time of the killing, Nathaniel lapsed into a temporary psychotic episode that prevented him from controlling his actions or comprehending what he was doing," end quote. The defense is that Nathaniel is not criminally responsible at the time of the incident because of major mental illness. Quote, "The defense, I would ask you to consider, is one of lack of criminal responsibility," end quote. Essentially, the insanity plea, right? Nathaniel's attorney, Bill Sullivan, called for the defense an expert psychiatrist who had evaluated Nate after Lauren's murder named Wade Myers. When asked what Nathaniel had told him happened that night when Lauren had arrived at the house, Nathaniel allegedly told him that they began walking towards the garage to talk, and he had grabbed this bungee cord and put it around her neck and began strangling her. He said he wasn't in control of himself. It was like his body was acting while his mind was disconnected from itself. So essentially, it was like he was watching himself do this, like an out-of-body experience. Dr. Myers also testified as to what Nathaniel had described to him about slitting Lauren's throat. And he testified, quote, "Again, describing not being in control of what he was doing, no emotional connection to what was happening," end quote. So hopefully you get the essence of this trial. I can go on and on and on, but I want to focus on one moment. One beautiful moment that happened in the courtroom right after it was read that Nathaniel Fujita was found guilty and would be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He was found guilty of murder in the first degree with deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity or cruelty. Lauren's father, Malcolm Astley, walked across the courtroom and hugged Nathaniel's crying parents. He later said, quote, "Trying to hold people responsible for situations that are murky and we don't understand very well, and trying to sort out the matter of mental health and how it applies in this case," end quote. When asked about the hug, he said, quote, "I was mainly sharing grief and wishing comfort for them in the ongoing horror that they face. They are facing ongoing, equivalent to torture for their son for the rest of his life," end quote. In response, Nate's uncle said of that amazing gesture of grace and compassion from one grieving father to another, quote, "He is perhaps the most generous human being I have ever met," end quote, as tears streamed down his face. I cried when I saw this moment. If I can find a clip of it that I'm able to use, I'll put it in. Guys, that's all I have for you today. This was a very short but extremely tragic case. It was one of the first 3 or 4 that I covered, and I thought it was a pretty good video, but I just wanted to do it again. Like I said, I'm redoing all of them, so bear with me. I really don't feel well. I know I seem like myself, but if you look at this, like I've been sleeping. I feel like absolute crap. So forgive like the poor lighting. I don't look so good. I feel self-conscious. That's not fishing for compliments. Anyway, guys, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Share it if you think it's worth sharing. Subscribe if you haven't already.
This one here.
I'm getting closer and closer to 8,000. Also, please check out some important links in the description box.
Yes,
the
there's links in the new description box below.
Right now, I do early access videos and
let me close it out. There we go. That's the 2 for the night. And let me get to a small box here. There we go. I like myself little. I like to be small. So I hope everybody's having a good night. We're down to 4. So I probably won't stream too much longer. I just wanted to play a couple. That's what Gemma's replays are for. Sometimes we hang out afterwards and hang for a couple hours. But I was going to keep it a nice, quiet night tonight. I know a lot of kids are back in school. A lot of parents are getting back in the swing of things. I hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. I'm trying to see how tomorrow goes. Friday was crazy. So I'm kind of glad we didn't do oracles. Now, remember, we're doing oracles every other Friday. So I won't be here Wednesday because she's doing oracles Friday. But I will be here Saturday for, of course, Gemma's replays. Come out. And next Sunday, I should have no plans. So I plan on just hanging out until everybody decides not to talk anymore, like right now. But I appreciate you all. And that's good because there's nights like this. I get them too. I hope you come back, and those who didn't finish the replays, come back and, if anything, come back and watch the double feature of something about 4 years ago. And both cases are still very relevant. I mean, even though the second one's a sad one. But the first one is still very relevant. So check them out. And you can go back in our library and do the same. So this Wednesday, I will not be here, but she has her premiere Tuesday. In fact, let me do that now while I'm thinking about it, because she already has it up. She's ahead of the game now. She's getting herself caught back up again. Let me get that up here. And before I leave, before I say my goodbyes, hang out a while. Okay. Get rid of that. Go full. So let me do it. I have to do this then. Here. Good. Go back. Ah, you doofus. There we go. Sad tale. Yeah, it is a very sad tale. Now let me try this. It didn't do it. There we go. Here. Yeah, it is a sad one. That one is sad because it happens a lot more than you really hear about. That, you know, these kind of things happens between young people. I mean, you get attached. Some of them, you know, right now, this world, we already know how crazy it is right now. Let me do this now so I can share it. It's her social media murders. That's going to be her premiere for Tuesday. Let me go back here and make this a little different. Do it like this. There we go. So that's her Tuesday night, 10 o'clock premiere. It'll be a good one, too. So go check it out. Come Tuesday night. Join us in chat. Going to try some foot gel now. Oh, yeah, let me know if it works. You know what they told me? I have one. My feet are pretty busted up. And I have one bad toe. And they told me to use Vaseline on it. It's been doing a job. It's killing it. Yeah, I've never been proud of my feet, but they've been abused pretty good. I'm surprised they still hold me up. But yeah, let me know if it works. You have to give it about 7 to 10 days. Then tell me your results. Yeah, that last one is sad. And yeah, like in the first one, New York is not a place for a young person to be, especially now. I mean, it was bad then. It's even worse now. Any big city, really. But yes, that will be Tuesday night. I won't stream Wednesday unless I get bored and decide to, which could happen. And then she will be doing oracles Friday. I put out some pretty funny shorts on TikTok. Well, I think they're funny. So if you see those, check them out. It's, I think Gemma put one of them on YouTube. So I'm making fun of us. So yeah, And check out her shorts, please. And like them and leave a comment. Just having fun. That's what it's about. Same thing with her TikTok. GemmaJadeYT YouTube on her TikTok. So I'm doing my promotions now, I guess. And that should be about it. Anything going on in the world out there this Sunday? Anybody doing anything exciting? I was trying to make it to at least 1:30, but we may not make it. When it's quiet, it's quiet. I get it. But everybody, like I said, if you didn't get to finish or didn't get to see the replays, come back and watch the double feature. Or go there into the her library and check them out. Some of the older ones are pretty good, and some of them are still very relevant. So, actually, both of these were still very relevant. Both have a story to tell that still goes on today. So, yeah. Not that I'd take a break from the paranormal stuff for a while, and I think I might do a couple of those next week. And then we'll go from there. I know she's got some things planned. I think we're supposed to get together soon and decide what we're gonna do where, because we are gonna. I'm gonna try to push her, and she's wants to go to Rumble too and do stuff there. So hopefully you'll start seeing stuff on Rumble. I am gonna update some of the stuff. I waited a while before I posted over there because I was posting videos over there. I wanted to wait a while, because I like to dump a load of them, and then she gets a ton of views. From what I can tell, she's still getting views over there on just the videos, and she had me post a couple of the live streams. So if you're on Rumble, go check them out and subscribe to her channel. We might do some lives there. She wants to do some gameplay on one of these, or maybe both of them at the same time. And I knew she wanted to do some other things, so we'll see what happens. Have a wonderful night, I guess. And it was much love to you all. Thanks for hanging out and enjoying the replays with me. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Have a wonderful Sunday.